Hello and welcome to Propy's webinar. I'm Gwyneth Iredale and we are here at episode 144, which is on um, how to, I lost the description here, how to
stay profitable.
Yeah, hold on one second. Yeah, thank you very much. We'll have that cut out of the recording. We are. And today I am lucky enough to have two guests here, Cheryl Sprengler and Melissa Syverson. And they are here to join us today for our half-hour webinar. Welcome.
Thank you. Hey guys, glad you're here. I have lots to talk about.
Great. Yeah, so we're here today, how to keep profitable through real estate's ups and downs. I'm Gwyneth Iredale, and I'm the Vice President of Customer Success here at Propy. So Melissa, I understand you're a realtor, you're a certified agent mentor. You work at EXP, and I understand you've got 10 years of experience there, and you're located in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Excellent. Yeah.
I service Fredericksburg and the surrounding areas, Northern Virginia area also.
Excellent. I've noticed some of your background, which really lends to being a great business partner with your clients, a data analyst experience. Yeah. So helping them make important decisions and when they buy a house, what's the best offer, what is a comp, and how to read the market. So that must be a great advantage for your clients. And Cheryl, gosh, you're in Northern Virginia, and you're also with EXP Realty.
Yes.
Yeah. And you've got over 20 years experience in the industry. And I can also see that you are familiar with blockchain. You're a blockchain business consultant and a Propy crypto certified agent.
Yes.
Which is probably, yeah. And your blockchain interest is probably how you found Propy.
Yes, I was
Excellent.
looking for a kind of a standardized, welcomed crypto company in real estate without, since there's just a lot going on in crypto that a lot of people don't believe in. I was looking for that and I found Propy.
Excellent. Well, glad you did. You're a great partner to work with us here on this webinar, and your contributions to educating the entire industry and your buyers and sellers on what is blockchain.
Yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit more about each of your backgrounds and how you differentiate, what makes you a different agent in your market? Just give me a little more background on how you succeed as an agent.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Yeah.
Well, from the very beginning, I've had my license since 2012, and I've really focused on helping clients buy and sell, but looking at the whole picture for them. I just want to make sure, there's someone out there that they can trust to work with at all times. And really that's been kind of the brand that I've been trying to establish over, the last 10 plus years. And that really came from, past experiences of, my first home buying experience just wasn't that great. And seeing how agents were handling themselves in the market. And I just really found a passion to just be completely different than that sometimes. Yeah. So I just love seeing people, really. So, it's definitely helped me build my business with that.
Yeah, that experience is invaluable. Any good leader probably gets down in the trenches and has to understand what the experience is like for their clients. Yeah, and you're very versatile too as well, right? Neighborhood expert all the way to somebody with experience investing in real estate that you can share with your clients.
Definitely.
Great. Cheryl, you have got a range of interests here. Tell me more about your interest in blockchain and how did you combine the two in real estate?
Well, first I should say I spend like my entire life telling people to niche down, and yet I'm all over. I do a lot. So it's kind of like this oxymoron, but well, before real estate, I did computers. So I've always been driven to the tech industry, keeping up on what's current that way in marketing. And I don't know, I can't say like one specific thing that like drew me to blockchain, but I well, I could, I guess it's Cardano, how they're changing the world, but without going into that, I was enamored by what the future of real estate's going to be in relation to crypto. So I started getting into virtual land, the idea of it. And we're talking about investors in real estate today, but like, what does that look like 30 years from now in crypto? And so I got into virtual land. So that's like my specialty that I focus on continuing to learn and share regarding that. And I, obviously want to be taken seriously. So I said, well, okay, I need to get educated. I'm not just going to go watch YouTube videos and then do those myself. So I took the beginning blockchain class just to get the basic knowledge of what is blockchain. And then after that, I signed up for a blockchain consultant class to really figure out how to implement that into businesses as just more knowledge.
Wow, that's an amazing path there, and you can feel your passion by the way you talk about this. So it's changing the world, isn't it? Blockchain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Propy, of course. I mean, in all honesty, there's still a sense of people thinking that you don't really know what you're doing and how to do that in real estate. Like, I think just real quick, like last year, I think I told a seller something about I'm going to buy the virtual land above your home. And I think that's the last time I ever said that, because
they're like, what? Air rights? Is that air rights?
Because they're like, I think they're like, so you're not in real estate anymore? And I was like, okay, I'm going to stop that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's about getting in at the right time, right? Anybody who's invested in crypto. Propy, for example, just like you, Cheryl, we are looking to the future. We've noticed that around the world, there are infrastructures like blockchain, and real estate was ripe for improvements in the process for buyers and sellers. So applying the technology of smart contracts and blockchain made perfect sense to us. It's just that we have to educate as well. So I think you found out what happens when you educate a little bit early, or at least use different words.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're all about education here too as well. And that's the purpose of this webinar today. So as far as sharing some of your knowledge, let's ask a few questions here. So why don't you start with some of the strategies for navigating this market right now? Seems like the real estate market's coming back. Many markets it is, but it does feel like we left a volatile time during COVID. Multiple offers and then plunging off with no inventory, and buyers and sellers must be very confused about the dollar they can sell for or how much money they can make on the sale, and then how much they should offer. So who wants to go first about the best strategies for navigating this volatile market?
Well, I guess there is still this balance going on, at least in Northern Virginia, where the sellers they're not accepting they have to come down and give more. And the buyers just went like 100% to take everything. They're like, we've been screwed over for the last 24 months. And now we're going to go in asking, 30 to 50 less. And it's almost like they went extreme opposite. And then the sellers are still not there yet. So I would say, it depends on what perspective, but I think that timing the market, not holding on and, to the property too long. I still tell sellers that sometimes, majority of the time, the best offer comes in first. So I always try to, and the communication also, I feel like that's a little lacking, I say, between agents. There's a lot of non-responsiveness. So I just over communicate everywhere. And I feel like that gets deals done as much as having the right price and terms.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I definitely agree with that, Cheryl, because there's times where, you're making an offer for a client and there's already multiple offers in hand. And, of course, if you're not communicating with the listing agent, chances are they're not going to accept your offer. They're going to accept a different offer. But if you, really connect with the listing agent, 9 times out of 10, you can kind of work things out before they just make a decision on the offer. And really, that relationship is important because they're going to be relaying that also to, of course, their clients, which is going to help your buyer.
And of course, it's a tight community, and you're going to work with one buyer's agent and one day and then down the road again, and maybe the roles will be flipped. So what I heard, communication is key, preparation and education, and pricing the home right, or property, depending on whether it's commercial or residential, obviously in any market, the right price. So how do you determine that though? Can you look at comps, or how fresh are the comps in these markets that change so fast? How do you determine the price?
I mean, I definitely look at comps in the market, and try to narrow it down, to specifically to that neighborhood as much as possible. The other thing is, listening to your client and figuring out what their needs are. If they're relocating and they need to sell quickly, I mean, obviously you need to price it to sell, and also price it to where, you might still get multiple offers on the property. If they're, looking to just get the most, profit from the sale and, aren't worried about it, then you can price it a little bit higher and, maybe set a couple extra days or even a week, so that you can get the best offer.
Well, just imagine, these are amazing negotiating skills. The tools you have with all the different variables, because there are so many variables, that levers you can pull. You must it must require really good negotiating skills. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say on pricing, first, I probably do on an average 30 to 50 CMAs a week right now. And that is not because sellers are calling saying, do my CMA. I mail expireds every Monday. And so I'm doing a CMA on their house. And you do realize that, well, for me, I stick to what has sold in the last 120 days, not necessarily 180. And definitely almost always focus on the above ground square foot. I know this is getting into technicality, but it's like people can price such a variation of homes, but if you're trying to even teach someone how to do one above ground square foot, I stick with what the appraiser is going to do. They're going to come in the end. They're going to basically look at above ground square feet and then add in all the upgrades. So I try to explain that to the seller when I'm coming up with the price. And sometimes they're even surprised at their own square footage,
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I would say that narrows it down to the tightest, most accurate CMA out there.
You guys seeing cash offers, or is it the institutional investor types that are coming in with cash offers?
I find that I do have cashoffersvirginia.com, and I basically partner with Zoodealio, and it allows people to, every single home that I'm thinking of putting on, that I would do a CMA on, or that I list, I put them in to get a cash offer. And with Zoodealio, it's not a promo for them, but you always get one, whether your express offers, cash offer, or just have like a handful of investors. But 90% of the time, they don't actually take that. It just encourages them to know, okay, if I were to buy this as is cash right now, someone would give me this. Let's go ahead and list at this number, but it almost keeps them a little more realistic because it might be like 100K less.
Wow. Yeah. Depending on the price of the home. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. The idea of a real estate investor and diversifying their portfolio in this volatile market to minimize their risk, how do you advise them when, of course, their goal is to get the most profit over the long term? Or is there any strategy you take to advise them? Or for your personal investments, if you purchased a home, was it in a certain neighborhood? Did it have certain HOA, zoning?
Go ahead,
Things like that.
Melissa. I'll let you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's important to diversify your portfolio. Right now, I would say last year I didn't have as many investors, but within the last few months, there's a lot of investors out there, a lot of people, of course, buying and flipping homes even, which is always, I mean, it's great to see that like coming back, and improving the neighborhoods and, different homes in the neighborhood. I would say, with investors, buying in a location where that it's always going to, be profitable and you're going to have that cash flow every month. I personally try to stay in, the college student rental areas, around the college. And that way, even if the market's down, kids still need to go to school. So, that's a guaranteed income, and, you're not having to necessarily depend on the job market and things like that.
Yeah, good point.
I would say diversifying. I went back through my database when it was kind of, I would say in October, and was reaching out to them. And I noticed that probably 50% of my database is business owners, which I say majority of people have some kind of side gig, but there are like storefront local business owners as well. And they were doing a multitude of things to diversify. If they didn't own rental property, we were looking for rental property, like if they were commercial owners. If they owned rental, they were buying land. And even we were thinking outside the box. One guy, because he's like, what am I going to do with this land? I don't, I can't rent it. And I said, yes, you can actually. Even though people think advertising is dead, we basically researched and did kind of like a portfolio analysis of what if you bought a one-time fee, an electronic billboard, because this was a really high traffic corner, and put it up, and all the businesses that basically drove, that were around there would want to advertise every 90 seconds. And so we came up with like an $8,800 a month plan just on this vacant land. So I think really just being willing to have conversations other than, hey, are you thinking about buying something else? But what do you have that's not making money? Let's figure out a way to make money. And that was just something really interesting. And now he's planning to do it. It's going to cost $20,000 to buy this billboard, but I think he'll make back his money in 2 months.
Wow, that is amazing. That's really out of the box thinking. So, I mean, it makes business sense to ask, well, how else can we generate income? But your expertise and knowing land and the opportunities and buildings.
Of course, I was
stuff.
wanting a free 90-second spot. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, right.
I'm like, well, you can start with me.
Throw it in. Yes, exactly. I'll be let's do it. Let's do a trial run and see what the results are. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yep. And, I know nobody can predict the market, but do you think that there'll be foreclosures, and will investors come in and scoop them up, or will they be unloading some of their listings, or even the banks? Any guesses to that? I know that it's an opportunity for purchasing. It's not great for the people who default on their loans.
I don't think there's going to be, I don't know what the percent will be, but I definitely right now am working with people who are being foreclosed on, and working with bankruptcy attorneys, and they're massively mailing people who are just now going into foreclosure, where not even the mortgage company is still hanging out. Of course, the moratorium lifted in the beginning of this year, but the mortgage people are still trying to work with them to modify, but the HOA people are not. They're foreclosing. And so I think there's going to be a slew of foreclosures that if you hook up with the right people, like all the agents watching, if you hook up with the right business owner, like attorneys who are out spending a lot of money, like marketing to foreclosures.com, the minute they hit, go out to foreclosures.com, set up all the triggers so that you get them every single time. And yeah, I think people are being foreclosed on for sure. And it's just not in a mass quantity to where they're showing stats on that.
Yeah. And if you're ready with solutions and ways to help, you've done some research like you've done, Cheryl, you've mentioned your plan here, then you can be poised if that is the case, if more foreclosures come about. Yeah. So you talked a little bit about how you can best serve your clients during these fluctuations. Let's say, I need to earn money. This land is sitting here. I can't sell it. Are there any other ways that you help serve your clients during this time, maybe when things are a little bit on hold? How do you keep in front of them, top of mind? Do you carry on that conversation like you just illustrated, Cheryl, but other ways?
I kind of always feel like I want to be the most resourceful agent that they know. So, I mean, every answer that you ask, I always lean also to talk to, like I'm speaking to agents as well as buyers and sellers. But I would say while people are just living in their home, real estate agents should just document what they're doing, document their real estate life. So I say real estate life, because every time we come in contact with a client, there's some experience that we have. And instead of just like going home or sharing it or just keeping it to yourself, I think create a social media post about how that experience went, not identifying the people or their specific circumstance or even, like that, but just constant awareness of what you're doing throughout your business gives people ideas of what's going on. And they just know you as the most resourceful person. Like, who are they going to call if they need help? Be humble, be human, and like be approachable. And trust me, I've had to work on that. I didn't start off like that. But I have learned through 20 years that it is not about you. It is about them. And it's just literally just constantly connect, be more human, and just share everything that happens in your business through some social media post learning experience.
So I think what I heard you say is be that resource where, gosh, you sold me this house 10 years ago. It's time to remodel the kitchen. Do you have any contractors? Something like that. Or maybe even you celebrate anniversaries and you send around a bottle of champagne. It's your 5th anniversary since I sold you this house, that kind of thing. Any other ideas, Melissa? Do you keep top of mind?
Yeah, I mean, just picking up the phone and actually calling your client, past clients, which, your clients end up becoming friends and, almost like family with some of them, so just, being consistent for me is most important. But also, I've always been more about not making my business focused on commission or, what I'm getting out of it. It's what I'm giving back to people.
Oh, so
and
important.
they really feel, the value in that. And I'm sincere when I, am reaching out to people. So seeing if there's any way that I can help them or, I've even had, clients that, they're like, oh man, I really want to, get this room painted, but I don't know how, or I've had every possible situation that you can think of. And, I'm the first person to say, hey, I'm free on this day. You want to come over? I can come over and we can go ahead and get that room painted. And,
oh my gosh.
It's just stuff like that. I mean, I love doing that and being there for them, but at the same time, it builds that lifelong, relationship. And it's just so important. Yeah.
Yeah. Is the number still 7? The number of times a client will, years a client will move in their life? Is it every 7 years or is it 7 times? What is that statistic? Does it still apply even?
I would say every 5 to 7 years,
5 to 7
someone
years.
in their family's buying. I would say that. I'm literally helping people now. The first guy I ever sold a home to, I have helped his son, which really makes you feel old, but I've helped everyone in his family and his son and his daughter and now his daughter-in-law. And like they have a kid. I'm like, okay, if I'm helping that grandkid, I don't know. But yes, I would say every 5 to 7 years, someone in their family is selling. And that is a great reason to just like really, I would say the number one thing I could get across to anyone in real estate is database. Because they're just there's someone buying in their family every 5 to 7 years if they're not.
Yeah, that's amazing that you could keep that kind of connection and build that kind of relationship. So we have human relationships, which you just said, but you also have databases. So you're relying on technology. So are there other ways that innovative technology can help you continue to be profitable, especially during the ups and downs? Databases, social media.
Definitely social media. And I know Cheryl's like the queen of social media, and I try to keep up with her sometimes, but just being out there and being present, and that really keeps your face in front of, everyone. So you're the first person that they think of when they, are going to sell their home or buy one or have a friend or family member that is looking to do the same. So.
Speaking of social media, are there any social media accounts you would like people who are listening to follow or check in on or like?
Yeah, I'm as far as on Facebook business page, it's just at Live in Old Town. And on YouTube, it's Good Side of Crypto. And on Instagram, it's Cheryl Spangler Real Estate. I didn't keep all that consistent, but yeah. I'd love to connect with anyone.
Yep. And mine for Facebook and Instagram is Melissa Severson Realtor.
I see you're trying to type that in.
Yep.
I'll plug it in there.
Probably put it in the chat.
Yep, I'm trying to put it in the chat, or you can go ahead and do that as well. And that's, I'm sorry, that's on Facebook. Is that the name of your page, or is that the URL? So I spell it out here.
That is the name of my page.
Okay, great.
And I can post that in the chat too.
Yep, I've got it almost right here. All right, so thank you for sharing that on Facebook. And are there any other ways that people can reach you? Is that where they could start?
Well, just type Cheryl Spangler Real Estate. I guarantee you'll find enough that comes up on YouTube.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I agree, because yeah, we're both out there, and it just made me think of my parents one time Googled me, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, you're all over the place."
Yeah, good.
They thought that was like a, I guess a normal thing. They were trying to put their names in there, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't work like that. It takes a long time to
It's
build.
hard earned. Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah, yeah. All right. So let's say we have people who are aspiring investors, whether they are consumers buying real estate and hoping to hold and sell at the right time. And maybe this is a good time to buy. Prices are maybe lower and going higher, which of course is the goal of any investment asset that you invest in. What advice would you have for them? Wait, buy now, wait for spring when there's more competition?
I'm going to say, with investors, at least what I find is, they're ready to buy, and they want to go, and they want to find something today. And obviously the bigger investors that maybe have that cash flow can do that. But the people that are just starting out, I would say, research the market, or of course connect with a realtor that knows the market and knows the neighborhoods, and really like knows everything in and out, so that you're being patient and making sure you're making the right decision. So excellent. Yeah.
Cheryl, did you want to add anything?
I would say, and that ask your realtor to do this. Okay, don't go do it yourself, but I would say go check out the county 7-year plan, and go check out the VDOT 3 to 5 year plan, because when you see what they're doing for roads that they don't tell anyone about, when you see the 7-year plan, which every county provides on their county website, you can see exactly where they're expanding, planning to expand. All this stuff is really not something people post about until like 2 years from now. Then you go by there. And then 2 years from now, they're like, oh my God, everyone's like, why is this growing? That's kind of what I do now. For anyone looking to make a large chunk of cash, I will try to find a VDOT expansion road and say, you might want to think about buying here, because they've already approved that they're going to expand the road. And then if they do, they're going to pay you, $300,000 to $500,000 basically to take 15 feet of that. So I know that's a very specific example, but it happened. And I was like, okay, this is something to help investors create a portfolio of really thinking ahead. And also, think about things like find a gap in the market. I would say my biggest thing is like looking for a gap in the market. Tiny homes, everyone's looking, even rent is too high now for a lot of people. So just finding, you want a place in the city because people want walkable, but then you want a place outside the city because, there was like a drive to get out of the city. So I think having a written strategy would be my first recommendation. And then maybe helping them do that instead of just saying, hey, I want to rent a place, I want to buy a place and make money.
Excellent points. Great. All right. We are coming to the bottom of the hour. We have covered a lot. Some of the things I've heard, really some flexibility and creativity to work in any market, up or down. I hear the human connection is really important for the lifetime value of the relationship, right? And what else can I ask you to summarize for me that will leave our audience with some gems or takeaways of information?
Okay, so I would say, first of all, I would repeat to be the most resourceful person you can, not the smartest person in the room or the county, for an agent to be just the most resourceful, but also I would say stay connected to local businesses as in an equal manner that you're staying connected to people online with social media, because those local businesses, and here's just a tip, like you want to you just make a huge impact in the next 30 days. Go as an agent, go back through everyone that you ever sold a home to and everyone you ever recommended to anyone, and go Google review that business. It's so hard to get Google reviews. I won't say it's so hard, but business owner to business owner, go Google review them, contractors, plumber, electrician, literally anyone, roofer, inspector, just anyone, and then go interview them, post that on your YouTube page, and just become the person that knows what's going on locally in addition to what's going on online.
Interesting. And you write them a good review?
I write them. I mean, if there's someone that did not do a good job, of course, I'm not going to fake review them.
Yes, of course.
I absolutely give a great review. And then this like super technical tip, if you then link that review that you just gave on Google back to your website, it basically allows every single person that views that review, they'll be able to see where it links back to, and it'll bring you a lot more traffic.
Very cool tip. Backlink. Yeah. Melissa, how about you?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, the most important thing I think is just to overall keep, a positive attitude, whether you're an agent, whether you're a buyer, whether you're a seller. The market goes up and down all the time. And there's always the right buyer, for every home, and just having the patience and the positive attitude. I mean, I feel like, really anyone can benefit from the market, whether it's good or bad. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. And maybe it's to just get in the market in the first place.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can get analysis paralysis waiting by the sidelines, but you're never going to get money unless you get in the market.
Right. Exactly.
Great. All right. I'm going to ask our, let's see if I have any questions. I can invite the people who have stayed on the live webinar here to stay on and ask questions. And I'm going to say thank you so much, both of you, Melissa and Cheryl. You've been a pleasure. You have shared so many bits of information that is so valuable, and you're obviously both very successful in your business. So thank you so much. And thank you for being a client and involved with Propy and helping us share your knowledge and benefit our audience. So thank you again.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. So I'm going to say goodbye to the live streamers, and I'm going